All right, let's continue with the story now. We speak to the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Police, Ian Cameron. Ian, good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you've seen, of course, the reports over the weekend around this incident of a 7-year-old. Now, tonight, we are reporting on a 13-year-old in Limpopo, and this incident is alleged to have taken place at the school. The principal reported it, and now there is a 58-year-old teacher who's believed to be the perpetrator, who's on the run. Police saying they still looking for him. How do you respond and react to these incidents?
Obviously, it's very frustrating. There should be no space for anyone like this in civilization. I think they need to be removed as soon as possible. I must emphasize, though, that for years upon years, we've been calling on the sexual offences register to not only be made public, but that the vetting process for teachers specifically should be fast-tracked. And it seems that has fallen on deaf ears for many, many years. And unfortunately, there's a whole there's a multi-pronged list of challenges that we faced. And in my opinion, to be blatantly honest, it's inexcusable. The fact that, for example, the South African Police Service currently have a DNA backlog, it's inexcusable because it means that rapists, like the ones that have hurt these children, will likely walk away free. So there's just simply no excuse. It's extremely frustrating.
And you speak about the National Sex Offences Register, and just a few weeks ago we were in conversation with one of the advocates within the NPA, and who was telling us that they are still looking at a number of issues surrounding legalities, especially because in some of the instances you do see a not so victim-centric approach as far as the law is concerned, but also one that would look at offenders and the rights. And then at the same time, you've got the POPI Act that is also coming into play there around some of the personal information and how it is being processed. What approach are you taking as Parliament with all of this unfolding?
Well, I can't speak always on behalf of everyone because I know people's opinions differ, but broadly speaking, if I look from a police portfolio committee point of view, it certainly is victim-centric. It really is irritating to me that I hear the MPA saying that they're still considering different legalities and so on, because there's no time for still considering. We can't carry on at the rate at which we're carrying on. I mean, simply if we look at crime statistics regarding violence against children, if you look at sexual offences specifically in the last quarter that were released, the ones that we know was close to 2,000 sexual offence cases that were registered. I mean, 273 children were murdered in the last quarter of 2024. That's between October and December. And the list goes on. I mean, we can go into a lot of depth about it. The point is just that I always get the impression that certain parts of legislation is more on the side of the offender than what it is on the actual victim. And I want to give you a good practical example. I recently had a matter in Paarl in the Western Cape where a specific offender known for specifically domestic violence was actually handed back his firearms despite the fact that there was a protection order that specifically stipulated that under no circumstances should this person have access to firearms. And then literally a month after that protection order was made permanent, the South African Police Service found no, he's fit to have firearms. And they blatantly ignored a protection order from court. And these are the types of idiotic decisions that we have to work with. And I'm sorry for saying it so bluntly, but I've had to speak to too many parents of children that have either been murdered or raped or both, where they were completely neglected. And every time it seems to me like the perpetrator gets away on top. And we need to change that. They need to be punished, and it must be punitive and not just corrective. I'm all for helping someone rehabilitate. But someone that harms a minor in the way that we're learning from these most recent stories needs the worst punishment they can possibly get.
And we're hearing, from the EFF, as we look at their statement, they say that they've written to yourselves, including other portfolio committees, in order to see if there can't be a visit to Matatiele, and the demands they are calling for is that the DNA samples of the Bergview College principal, the reinvestigation of Alua's case, immediate investigation of the station commander, investigation of the school negligence, etc., the re-vetting of school staff, among others. Have you received this communique, and what are you going to do going forward?
Yes, I received it actually this morning. I know they wrote already over the weekend, but I did receive it this morning. We will prepare formal response for them and we will give it the necessary attention. We've got several similar matters on the table at the moment. Unfortunately, quite a few that we followed up over the recent months regarding investigations with regards to crime where children were very seriously harmed. So we will continue to do that. We will also try to do the relevant oversight. We won't necessarily be able to go as an entire committee, but obviously it will receive the necessary attention. What we will also do is where we have an opportunity to include it into the program, even if we have to make adjustment to the current program, we will see how we can fit in specific feedback sessions. A good example, how we've changed the program is this coming Wednesday, the Provincial Commissioner of the Western Cape needs to come and answer to the committee because of saying that gang violence is under control. Now, we can do the same thing with these types of cases. This past week, we did oversight in both the Eastern Cape and KZN, and we actually summoned the relevant commanders of the South African Police Service to KZN to come and report back about the status of the DNA backlog. So where there's a will, there's a way, and we certainly will fit it in somehow, some way.
And before I let you go, what's your reaction to how particularly this matter in the Eastern Cape was handled by police? It happened last year, and some even asking what took so long in order for, for things to get to this point, and we still are not seeing arrests.
It's very frustrating. Something is definitely wrong. So I must say that my colleague, and this is that's within the DA with me specifically, this is putting on another hat now. Lisa Schikkeling did follow it up with the Provincial Commissioner in the Eastern Cape already the beginning of last week when she learned of the matter, and he immediately acknowledged that something doesn't seem right. So I know there are processes that are ongoing. I just feel frustrated with the fact that it's kind of a lukewarm approach that we see from SAP's leadership. We want to see drastic calls. We want to see drastic measures being taken, and obviously not reckless ones, but we need drastic reaction to these types of things. We can't keep on always considering the accused, specifically when it's so blatant as this. Now, obviously, we can't be a kangaroo court, and we need to let the law take its course. But it's critical for me that these types of processes are fast-tracked, and obviously the relevant, I'm sure, will be done regarding the DNA.
Ian, appreciate your time this evening. That was the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Police, Ian Cameron.